This is the culmination of the entire season of the Goetemann grants and invitationals. We do 3 a year. As you guys probably know, the Goetemann grant was established in 2005 by Goetemann, the artist who lived next door. And we had the pleasure of renting his house, and he had a really cool bathtub, a double-seater, and he was really a great artist with his wife. And they established this grant, and this is the final grant that's being awarded to Deb, that was awarded for just to see what she could bring from the community and into the community. It's always given to an artist who lives in Gloucester or works in Gloucester, and she was the selection of the committee this year. And she has done a fabulous job, and I cannot wait to hear everything you learned, because you've taught me so much already, but I know you're going to learn more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, I just want to thank, I'm just so grateful that everyone's here, but I was just so grateful to be given this, and it really was a gift to have this whole month to really think about my art. The artist talk was really good because it sort of got my thoughts sort of organized, and I had to do a very formal, I don't know if I had to, but I did a much more formal presentation. But then the month was really about making stuff, even though my talk was, does art have to be an object? Can it be an act of generosity, and what would that look like? So, and then I, of course, went and made objects. So, so it doesn't always have to be an object. But, first of all, it was just such a great gift. And one of the best things was really getting to meet people during my residency. And my idea was to, in May, I wrote a proposal for it, and it was talking about deep listening. And my idea was really, starting in May, to go around and talk to people and really listen to their stories. And because I'm new to the area, and I really wanted to hear what they had to say. And, I went and talked to Donnie King at the shipyard, and I sat with Pooley and, many, many people in the area. But then I also tried to talk and listen to, the nature and the water, and that was part of the listening process. Hey!
Hey!
Come on, yeah, welcome. Yeah. That was sort of how it started, this idea of deep listening. And so in May, I was just sort of listening and trying to figure out, what I would hear and what would come to me. And then what I decided after sort of talking about art doesn't have to be an object, can be an act of generosity, which is sort of like the gallery and this little art foundation I run, and aspects of my practice. But then I decided I'm going to make objects, and let's do something really experimental for me. And that is the reason why I became an artist, is because I think I'm very oppositional. As my mentor told me, my mentor's like, oh my God, I think you have like oppositional defiance disorder. Anyways, just to recap a little, I just want to, said thank you so much for being given this opportunity. It really was a gift for me. And my first part of the month, I talked about, does art have to be an object? Can it be an act of generosity? I learned in my practice that art does not have to be an object. And so that's what this gallery is about, the little art foundation I do. And a lot of my work is very collaborative. And it's really about offering something and seeing what you have to offer to somebody, or working together with other people, and how that is sort of generative, so generosity as in generative. And so this grant was very generative for me, and it's a long line, a lineage of generosity that Rocky Neck and Mr. Goetemann started by creating this fund, and it really is incredible. And my whole ethos is art as an act of generosity, and to be part of it, to receive it instead of is feels so great. So I just thank you. And so anyways, I decided to make objects this month because I'm oppositional. And I decided I'm not gonna, it is going to be an object this time around. It's not going to be, it will be an act, but maybe, I think what I've learned about generosity is that you also have to be willing to receive. Otherwise, it goes out, it has to also come back, it has to flow both ways. And sometimes we're not willing to receive it, and that blocks it. And so it was actually a little hard for me to receive the grant. I was like, anyways, it was hard. And it was hard for me to take the time and to give myself that gift. I don't know why we have trouble giving ourselves the gift, but that was actually a big part of my process, was giving myself a gift of really spending the whole week and the month, like working on something experimental for myself. And so why I became an artist is because, as I said, I thought, oh my God, it's the only thing I can do, that I can do whatever I want. I hate being bossed around and told what to do. I'm going to be an artist. Well, it doesn't pay the bills, unfortunately, but, so I loved this idea of I could do whatever I want. But the older I got and the more, I also have a spiritual practice, which is Zen and Tibetan Buddhism. The more I thought about how form, a strict form, such as meditation, where it's a very strict form, helps you liberate yourself. It's actually really liberating. So then I married my wonderful husband Rick, who's a sailor, and we go sailing, and that restricted environment where you really can't do a lot, you don't have a lot, there's just not much, and you can't go anywhere. I was like, why? I was so happy on the boat, and I was like, what is it about a restriction or a container or something like a set form? What is liberating, and why does that create happiness? So that really was so fascinating for me. That was my question to myself. I'm going to create rules for myself. And I was like, yeah, that sounds horrible. I was like, why not? And that's the whole idea about contemporary art, and what I love about contemporary art is that it's really inquiry-based, research-based. So I'm going to study myself. The inquiry is, what will happen if I create a set of rules for myself that's restrictive, and I have to put up work or make work whether I like it. Like, it's not about whether I like it or not. So that was another thing. One of the quotes, and I'll pass these around, but one of the things I was working on, one of my rules was, don't try to be active, special, or accomplish something. Don't expect anything. Don't think about time. Take care of your materials and space, which is really hard for me. Don't try to be someone special. Work outside of time. Do not know what will happen. So no planning for the future, not knowing what will happen, sort of working in the dark was really, so I have like all these rules. They didn't really, don't stick to an old self, don't expect anyone's help. Don't spoil your effort by seeking shelter. protect yourself and grow upright to the sky. And so, I mean, there's other ones. Just open yourself and give up everything. So these, I'll pass them around, but they're just sort of my weird rules. But the other rule was I wanted to try to be in the lineage of plein air. I'm not a traditional plein air painter, obviously, but I'm here in Rocky Neck, and it's a plein air. That is my heritage that I'm stepping into, and I really want to respect that, and I want to learn from that. And I thought, okay, I am going to be a plein air painter this month in a whatever way I'm able to. So that was the one rule, was I had to start everything outside. And the other rule, I have a really famous, well-known artist, Michelle Grabner, and she is a bit of a art ancestor to me. And she said, and I love this line, form is political. Meaning whatever form you choose, it's almost like it is a political statement of some kind, how you form things. And so I thought, well, I really want my form to be soft. So I everything I worked with, the base of everything I worked with is soft. It's unprimed. It's absorbent. I can't say that. Or absorptive. That's what I was trying to. Yeah. And and then so I went outside. Every piece, the base of every piece is that, and so that's the foundation. And the part that's not knowing and that I couldn't care about is I went outside. And this one was made at Braces Cove, or is it Brace Cove? I don't know. I say Braces. Just Braces. That showed me. So that was part of the deep listening. She took me around and showed me these really amazing places. So I was like, oh my God, this place is amazing. So I went back one day, and it was a crazy storm. The waves were huge, and it was, you told me that story about people getting washed away, but I didn't go to the bad place. I thought of you. I know about the ocean. So, and I'm lugging all my stuff because I was worried about parking in the little parking lot there, and so Noam showed me where to park. And I used this, so this was the background, and I just had Sumi ink, and I sat and listened, and then I was on the beach, there was no one there, and I worked, my idea is to work blind, so that I couldn't expect anything, know what it would look like, care what it would look like. I closed my eyes, I was listening to the sound. And I had this big bottle of, I just brought all my little props here, if people are interested. Like this giant bottle of, so, and I'm working like this on it. I had probably some seaweed, but I closed my eyes and I know the size of my canvas, and I'm working on that. And then, it started pouring rain, and then a wave came and crashed on it. But this is waterproof. So a lot of the lines here, it was really muddy at first though, because the rain and the wave came, but a lot of it did stay clear, and but it wasn't. And then the wind I picked it up, and the wind started whipping around. But so I don't really feel like I made that part of it, and it wasn't my own aesthetic. And I wasn't really trying to make it pretty or anything. It was just what happened in that moment.
Collaboration with a storm.
Yeah. And so all the pieces, like this one, we went sailing, and we went to Little Misery Island, Rick dropped me off there. I just sat for a long time, and I was going to start working, and then a kayaker came up and wanted to start talking to me, and I realized at that point I am the worst plein air painter because I don't like to talk to people while I work. So I realized that I'm not ready for that part of plein air painting. Maybe I'll never be ready. So I waited for him to leave, and then also I closed my eyes. But here I experimented afterwards. I also added a little like earth-based pigments. I work with powdered pigments, which this is just because people sort of like to know, like the medium and stuff. That it's like they're earth-based, so they're non-toxic and they're made.
Methyl cellulose?
They're no. This is just like from the earth. I don't know. It's a non-toxic pigment from the earth.
Oh, nice. Where'd you get that?
I think these are French.
Okay.
I think. Or I can give anyone who's interested. I'll give you guys this information, and the ink is non-toxic. But then afterwards, I made some. These are marks that I made with my eye open, and they're marks that I make with my eyes open generally. So you can see some marks that I made afterwards. Then I took it to. It was all wet, and I washed this. I washed it in the ocean. And so that was something interesting I learned, is that unprimed canvas, unwashed, it must have some kind of sizing on it, but it's like stiff.
Oh yeah.
So then I got really into like washing it in the ocean, almost like, I don't know. I'm thinking of all my women ancestors, and like I used to live in Morocco, and we'd wash it in a tub and like hang it up. But so I was thinking about women ancestors, and I kind of got into like washing it, and so I'm like washing, and so that is after it's been in the ocean, so it kind of changes color a little, and it I don't know, it just has a different has a different feel. It's probably still a little salty or sandy. And then I put this to dry overnight up in a field. And I wanted to show you guys this one because I didn't take it back to the studio and change it. That's just how it was after that. And same with these. I did like this in on 10-pound island, and like these, I just like lay them out, and I like to work like with my whole body. So these, I think I started. I thought this was kind of interesting. These are marks that I made sort of normally, kind of like this, but then I decided. I don't want to make normal marks. I'm looking at it. So then I picked it up, and I was kind of like, just feeling with my body and listening to the waves, and you can see the difference in the marks, the mark making, from when I'm looking. Maybe you can't, but I can. When I'm looking and like making, these are sort of marks I'm always making. And then what I really liked is I start making marks that I don't normally make. I mean, they're kind of like my marks, but they're for me, there's something a little more alive about them. And I think that was what I really wanted to accomplish, is just not to make the same old shit over and over. Sorry.
Really, that section there, was that one of the blind stripes?
Yeah.
Right in here?
Yeah.
Because down there, and that's 10 pounds. Like you feel the contour of
Right?
the rock there, especially that big rock that kind of clamber on. And so it's like you were listening to the place.
That's
for another sense.
right.
Yeah.
You're
doing plein air. Oh my God.
Oh my God, it's for there.
Yeah. She just said
So that was really interesting to me, and I just like it as a role. I don't, I kind of like to be able to see that, so that's why I didn't do anything. But I often take this kind of stuff and work back into so later when I brought this one back into the studio, which is a very different, it's here, I was working here, it's a very different space, then, you know, I'm asserting into the work that the dark, what I think of as the dark part of the work, the dark, not, it is dark because it's black, but it's the not knowing part of the work. And then then I start working in where my collage and color and probably more my personal language and training that I've, you know, probably spent my whole life as an artist sort of developing. And so the ones that I add back in, like this one was made at 10 pound, the background. And like here's seaweed, I probably took seaweed. And then with these I made drawings, like I would find sticks, or once I found a bone, and I would draw, this is the stuff I saw, but the background was probably blind. But then when I brought it back into the studio, a lot of my work seems to always have these sort of totemic figures, and there's a lot of sort of, I think of it as I used to be a textile designer when I lived in Morocco, and so I think there's something about that sort of asserting itself in these, and so this is experimental. This was 10 pound island, the base. This is like this totemic figure. I don't know, I make these. This piece was made on 10 pound. But I started layering all this stuff in here. And what was interesting for me, because this is all experimental, like I didn't collage it down. I just left it hanging because I didn't even know how I felt about it. I was trying not to think about, oh, people are going to see this. You know, I have to like worry about, that was one of my rules, you know, don't try to be special, don't try to like make something look a certain, you know, it was really, and so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put it up there, I'm gonna try it, I'm gonna do it, I don't even know if I like it. And when I made it, I was like, oh my God, it's a giant mess. I really don't want to show people that. But the longer I sort of sat with it, I'm coming to really like the loose. I'm kind of glad that I didn't put it down. So I don't know. I'm still learning what this even means to me. These are like fabric. Some of the fabric I designed in Morocco. These are strips of other paintings I did on 10 pound or you know, other everything I made during this residency, usually outside. And so and another piece I worked on was this is an old textile. It's a tablecloth, and this one I made at Braces Cove during that storm with the ink. And because it was raining and it got a wave on it, well, this one actually, it got a wave on it, but what was really, because it was really light, I held it up and the wind was whipping. Then it started like flying around in this crazy way, but it was making really cool patterns with the ink on the, so it got really dark, but really interesting. And when I brought it back to the studio, I noticed, you know, I was trying to listen to the textile, to what it wanted, and I noticed that it had this pattern in the tablecloth, and so I was like, oh, it still kind of wants to be a textile, but I'm gonna play that up. A lot of my work was about color theory for many years, so I really loved that it had this repeating pattern, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna play with, so every little red dot is slightly different color, every little shape is a slightly different color, and so really play with color theory, and how one color next to the other affects that, that's why it looks probably different than the other ones. It's more like a textile because the base was a textile, and I can show you another one that I didn't finish, or I made on 10 pound. This is I love to work on old tablecloths, because I don't know, it's just, I like old materials. It's like collaborating with the past. So this, and I have, oh yeah, this was at 10 pound. This is an old tablecloth, linen. And this was a boat that was in the harbor, and then the rocks in the front. And so maybe I'll leave, I don't know, but this is something I did there. This one feels less like what it's going to want to be a textile. I don't know, but anyway, so but that one stayed because it was a sunny day. It dried and sort of stayed, although I did wash it in the water. But that one got really dark because it was sort of in a storm. So that's that one. And this one, I worked with oil on this one. This is all handmade oil from the powdered pigment. So I love to hand mix it. It's walnut oil and a little terpenoid, and then the ink and the tablecloth as the base. And then behind you, these are, just so that you can see, these are sort of what I call, I make a lot of these sort of, I call them sort of totems or totemic sort of figures. And they're probably all sort of self-portraits in some weird way. I don't, but you'll see them, like they're in almost, when I start, bringing it back to the studio, they all seem to arrive in the work, except for that one. That's why I think that one's different. This one I didn't work back into the studio, so I didn't. And then the one in the corner there is the self-portrait that was at Brace's Cove. And ink, and it was pretty much like that, like the hair, that was like my hair going crazy. And I was trying to paint, I was trying to paint what my body felt like rather than what it looked like. And I think that's like my giant hand coming there. I don't know. It looks like I have this big mustache. Maybe I felt like I had a mustache. I don't know. But like that is really how I felt. My body felt in the storm. And so like there's, I'll just show you, like I did, these are other experiments I did I closed my eyes and then I tried to think of how was my body, like what my face felt like and what my body felt like. So these are just experiments to see, instead of painting what you look like, what you feel like. So I think this is one, because I'm doing it like this with my eyes closed and I'm trying to think, okay, my feet feel like this. I've never done that before. So, but the marks for me are really interesting. And so it was liberating having this strict form, which is what, this was my experiment. Having a strict form and rules actually was incredibly liberating, and I really got to study, how do I like to work, what do I like, when I brought it back, I just could learn. I learned so much this month. So any questions? That's my whoa.
What was your biggest lesson, do you think? I mean, there was a lot you experienced of freedom.
I think my biggest lesson, one is I love to work outside. I do love to work outside.
Plein air.
But I don't And I work, I don't like people around.
I don't think plein air people talk that much to people, do you guys?
You have to, you gotta keep working, right?
Yeah, you gotta.
I have to
Yeah.
find very private areas. And they're fewer and far between.
But maybe you could have a rule where you don't say anything and see what happens, let them deal with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That'd be so
I
scary.
don't think any plein air painters like people disturbing them.
No.
And I think people know that.
Do
They
they?
kind of are respectful
Are
of people
they?
who are busy painting.
Yeah.
Are they gonna just start chatting
Except for
away?
kayak.
The kayak.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that might have been, oh yeah, well,
They're
maybe
very
I
social.
am. Yeah.
You know those little
Yeah.
signs that said in loving silence. You know,
Loving
like they
silence.
wear at the retreats, you know.
Oh, is that what they wear?
Yeah, just a sign, so people know. We're not being
Oh, that's a
rude, we're
nice
just
way
in
to
loving
say it.
silence. Yeah.
That's an
Yeah.
idea.
Have a sign, I'm loving my son.
I'm
There
loving
you
my
go.
silence.
You made sure.
I like it. So I think something about setting up a form, a strict form, you know, but something about setting up a form or rules or certain thing, like an inquiry, sort of more of an inquiry based. So every time you could make a body of work or a bunch of work, you know, just like it's a science experiment. You have a thesis. What happens if I do this? Not,
nice.
and what do you learn? And then you can share that with, you know, your community and be like, oh, I learned about these products and I learned about that and I learned about this. And so something about that feels really interesting to me. And that's what I love about contemporary art is that it's usually a lot about questioning stuff and, oh, let's see, what rabbit hole are we gonna go down and what are we gonna find out? So that probably, and it was liberating.
That's great.
Yeah. And I found out I really like making objects.
Making what?
Objects.
Yeah.
After like saying it doesn't have to be an object. But
It must, when you're out doing this,
yeah.
how can a person not talk to you?
Maybe.
Because they're like,
It
what
is-
the heck is she
it is-
doing? You know,
Right,
it's,
it's performative in the sense that it's so big and I'm using my
Yeah.
body and
So
I'm sure I
that
look
is-
like a
yeah.
crazy
that's
person.
gonna, someone's gonna inquire.
Yeah.
Or
that's
somebody
not right.
painting a boat, okay, he's painting a boat.
I think
But what
so.
you're doing is like, what is she doing?
I think
So
you're,
It's gonna be hard not to have a
I think so, and
conversation.
that's why I either have to be good at
Deflect.
not caring, which I'm not there yet. At all. I got so enraged when that, it was so fascinating. Of course, I didn't say anything, but like inside, I'm like, I'm trying to, you know, like do something here. And then afterwards, I'm like, well, you know, I think that was, it was just interesting for me to see how emotional I got. But I think, I don't know, you know, I mean, maybe it'll be different. Maybe people in the area will start knowing I do this weird thing and they'll leave me alone, you know. It won't be a strange thing to,
There you go.
you know,
I like
They'll
that.
get
Right.
used to you.
But you used a word very interestingly, you know, that you felt that it was rather performative. And I can imagine that there is, I could see how this could be an element
Yeah.
of performance art. I
yeah,
mean, there
Yeah.
is in this process that
Yeah.
you're doing
Yeah.
and how you're doing it, there's a
Right.
spontaneous, there's a, you know, you're using your body.
yeah.
And it is an element of,
I think,
you know,
I
perform,
think there is.
you know, and maybe that's just something that will become part of your process,
Maybe.
that the more you are into it, and, you know, if you're, you know, people will have to deal with it however they deal with it.
Right.
But this is what you do,
Yeah,
you know?
People-
It's interesting.
People around here, most people that aren't in our community don't know what performance art is.
Yeah.
They just, I mean, there's so many crazy people around here.
Saying everywhere, but
They
it's,
don't really care.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
It almost seems like you were saying performative, but also very interactive, because you're interacting with
I-
the space.
with
Yeah.
the, yeah,
Yeah.
and the
So not necessarily
materials
with the
and
person,
nature
but-
itself. Yeah.
But maybe that's an invitation for them to find another interface, another interaction with their space too.
It could be, and that's a really interesting, maybe as I inquire more into what this all means for my practice and whatever, how it works, or I love to dance, as anyone who knows me.
Very good.
So, and I think that is something about listening, and then feeling it in your body. And I'm not shy when I dance. I really don't care, because I'm really into the music, and just it's like this. And so maybe it's connect. I mean, I think it could be connected with that somehow, and maybe down the road I won't care if people are watching.
Seems very brave.
Hang around with
To put
Brenda.
yourself out there like that, and just say, this is art, this is
Yeah.
me, this is my movement,
Yeah,
my dance,
yeah.
my
So
vision.
maybe that's it. Maybe I'm like protecting my dignity.
No, I mean, I think it's extraordinary.
Yeah.
You threw all those wonderful questions out there
Oh, yeah.
that you
Yeah.
want.
Don't spoil your effort by seeking shelter.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh my God, no.
Interesting.
All your rules.
How dare you throw my rule back at
That's a really good one.
me, right? Yeah. Okay.
Your art-
Damn it.
Your art really makes me think about, you're talking about like a visual language that you're creating.
Yeah.
And this sort of, maybe it's the fact that you're using like ink, makes me think a lot about calligraphy and this sort of scroll. And like, to me, this is like an alphabet, that scroll.
Yeah.
These marks of language that you're going to use later. And this emotion brought into it is like an emotion physical language. And then that's also making me, think about how you're having trouble vocalizing things to people while you're doing it. Like you want this silent solitude.
Right.
And I don't know, like you always have words in your writing.
I do.
And you talk about your work as a thesis. So there's this element of vocabulary that I think, I don't know,
Yeah.
seems
Maybe.
important to you.
I think so. It is a development of a visual language, of my own personal language. And, I do tend to always have written words in it. So, maybe it is the beginning of, I already have a certain language that I've been developing for years, but I feel like that's what I'm trying to integrate now. Now I'm here and integrating sort of the language of plein air and what that is for me. And no, that's a good point, Carrie. And the more I look at the marks and think about the marks, they definitely have something to say. I mean, that's what I'd be curious about from you guys. Like, how do you experience the work? Like, I know how I experience it, but I'm always interested in hearing not whether you like it or whether you'd want it in your house, but like, what is your experience of one of the like pick a piece, someone pick a piece.
It's very freeing.
Okay.
And like this, for example, that
Yeah.
is just haphazard and floppy, and
Yeah, it is
I
floppy.
love that.
You like
you
the
know.
floppiness?
Yeah, it's
of
like
it?
it's like not childlike, but it is childlike too.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we're really all basically still children.
Yeah, it's undone.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Undone.
I see a totally different thing.
Yeah.
That is the most finished piece to me.
Okay.
It's so perfect, and it really reminds me of the landscape around here, and the seascape, and the beach, and the colors. That's the most beautiful thing.
Oh.
And I love how you've hung things on it. Instead of just
Yeah.
one thing, you always hang one thing on it, but that
is multiple.
And that I,
This is the last piece I did. Yeah.
that's
Out
finished.
of all of them.
It tells the whole story, and I see an I
Oh, where's the eye?
right in the middle.
This is an eye.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here?
No,
No, the left.
Oh,
Here?
that whole
Yeah.
thing? That?
This
Oh, yeah.
one?
that's your I.
Ah.
That's how you saw
Yeah.
everything.
Well, I do feel like these central figures are like
That's only me.
portraits.
Everybody
Yeah.
has a different reaction.
Yeah, thank you. That's really helpful to me.
I think when I was in here on Monday, I said they're really emotional, and then I was thinking about it later, and they're raw, and I really like that about them, and I think a lot of that probably has to do with being outside in the
Right.
weather.
Yeah.
And those of us that live here know how
Right.
it is, like it changes like
Right.
quickly, and so having to deal with that, and I think, yeah, they're really great.
Well, that makes me I feel really happy about that, because part of it is to get, maybe that is what Carrie left, but the language, that's not my language inserted into it. And that's the foundation, is the language of the ocean and the language of whatever, the wind and the storm, is the base for the work. And then it comes back into the studio. And either it's, like, I probably won't ever touch this one. Either I leave it, I'm like, okay, wow, the storm really, that's it.
It's so beautiful.
I'll layer in my own, so then it becomes like a dance between the storm language and my language, because I can't, that's what's been liberating for me, because I don't know if everyone here is an artist, but you just tend sometimes to make the same style over and over or whatever, the same thing, and it's really hard to I don't know, then it just becomes all about you, and I'm really trying to make work that feels less about me, and that somehow and that's about the listening and not always asserting, like having to put my thing in, and I think that was the thing about there was a quote in there about, and that it really resonated with me about it's a big mistake to think that doing whatever you want is expressing yourself. And I was like,
Was that a quote, or that was your rule, or just a thing? Or
It's a because
I read
that
that
was
too.
why I became an artist, is because I can do whatever I damn well please.
Right.
And then I was like, but I think there's something that just pushes that. Yeah, but that isn't necessarily liberating. That's almost like decorating your own prison cell. Right?
So this looks like the ocean inside the ocean
This one.
during a storm.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's
That's
just,
true. I mean, it was the waves. It was right after a big storm, so the waves were still big, but it wasn't raining. Yeah, and they were little misery and big misery, and then there's this little channel, and the waves were crashing. And then I was on the beach here, so I wasn't really. It was hard to get on the island. It was sort of a tricky landing on the island at that point, but yeah. So probably
just interesting, very, like, basic. Something,
Yeah.
Like you were at the ocean and you painted the ocean
Yeah.
in a whole different way than anyone's ever painted the ocean. Yeah.
The little bit of color, the little bit of
Yeah.
green makes it. If it
Yeah.
didn't
It
have
helps,
that, I
yeah.
wouldn't be. It's,
Yeah, it helps.
It
Yeah.
just it's subtle, but
Yeah, so this was, I just had some of this pigment, and before I started, and I was looking, I put like a little green here, and there was, this is a little gray
Yeah.
powdered pigment, and then I just mixed mixed, it was the ocean water that, it mixes really well with salt water. Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
don't
you fit
think,
right in, this is, you're part of that painting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Look at your arm, look at your arm.
And my patch.
I don't think
Yeah.
any of these paintings, including that, look raw. They look so finished. I don't know about that.
Interesting.
That's,
The tablecloth.
but they're so finished, they could be in the Museum of Fine Arts.
Hopefully they will be.
And this is, I mean, it's a whole story. Talk about language, and you're never going to escape yourself.
No, you're not, and that's why also, that's why bringing it back into, that's why I think of it as the dark and the light. The darkness is what I don't know, and what is unknown to me is the big, in Zen you'd say the big mind. And then, I'm the little mind, my own little thoughts and my own conditioning and training. And so maybe it's trying to integrate the two, the big mind, which is the ones when I go outside and I really listen and I'm not really thinking, it's not hopefully from me. And then when I come back in, it's me sort of dancing or working with that. So integrating those two things together.
You were really, because Elizabeth, like you, I'm just totally sucked into that.
Yeah.
But there's some element of the sort of cosmic quality of like the grain of sand connected to the star, sort of energy going on in what you created on the island, and then your totemic pieces are it's a framing. You get a framing, but what the framing allows us to do is put ourselves in there also. So like you're talking about that dance.
Yeah.
You give us something to anchor our small humanness in that beautiful, wide open possibility.
Well, isn't that interesting, like self and other? I mean, I think for me, I'm always fascinated with that idea of, like, what is it, like myself and, the outside, or myself and you, and like that interaction, something about that intimacy is kind of the word that comes to my mind, that I'm trying to just understand it better and be more intimate with myself and with the world around me. And then, the form that I chose is soft and flexible and open, because it can be changed, it could be cut, it could be ripped. It's not like a canvas, and I think that form is really important to me. The sewing is important to me. I think that's something about honoring like my female lineage, all the women in my past who made quilts and sewed, and so something about that seemed important to me also.
You also have it in a square.
Yes.
You're keeping that form.
Except for my little
Totally,
my-
right. Your major totem, yeah. But it's interesting because they all have that.
I love grids.
Yeah. I'm with you. I love a grid.
I love a good grid.
So
So, I mean, I think, maybe that's, a lot of what I do. I'm trying to like integrate all the things I love into like one thing.
But you did it. That really,
That is
so
spectacular.
beautiful. Yeah.
And I love this idea of these totems type thing. And I can tell that they're very deeply personal for you, and what, the different types of materials, and I find it really striking when you incorporated them into the center of your work. And it's like this vertical kind of
figure.
Figure,
Yeah.
presence, you know, that,
It's a scarf.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love textile. Like,
Yeah,
I worked for many years with my mom who had an interior design firm, and, you know, textiles, carpets, like, you know, and they all have borders and frames and, you know, a lot of, so I'm sure I'm always trying to throw that into my
Yeah.
work.
I personally, I like that. I'm kind of into, borders and patterns,
Yeah,
and things
yeah,
like that. But,
yeah.
and sometimes it can get, I can learn it myself, but I really like how you guys done that with these.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how the figure for you is
Yeah.
always center. And, you know, forward a bit.
Yeah, it is.
That
it,
one
it,
settles in more.
a little more. Yeah.
But yeah, it's
I
right
think
there.
I think it is. I mean, this in particular, I was really studying myself. So I don't know in the future, but I think that's why, when I think about it, why I was always sort of, you know, that was definitely a self-portrait. And, you know, I kept thinking about my body, and, you know, I was definitely trying to study myself in this process with this question, you know, and just see what I
I'm
would
seeing a
find
lot
out.
of figures
Yeah,
in all
Yeah.
of these.
yeah. I love portraiture. I went to like a master's program in England, and it was like a curatorial program, and I wrote my thesis on the painting technique of Rembrandt with his self-portraits. I was fascinating with especially self-portraits. Something about that, you know, that figure looking back, you know, at you, but like facing you, like just forward through time. So maybe, you know, I don't know. I'm definitely interested in that, and I think the totems or whatever they are have something to do with that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just in Amsterdam and saw the Rembrandt Museum.
Yeah.
And I was so disappointed with the Jewish bride. You know that painting?
Yes, I do. Was it like
It was such an unhappy bride.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
God. And I was there because of a wedding.
Yeah.
A beautiful wedding.
Yeah.
And here's this husband or whoever he is.
Yeah.
He seems like very
Yeah.
shady character. And
Yeah.
she's this innocent little. Oh, it's surprising to me.
Yeah.
I was expecting to see this beautiful.
No.
Oh no.
His work, I love his work.
Yeah.
It's you can, even this time period, you're like, oh, I can feel his mind, like, right?
I was shocked by
right?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very,
Yeah.
So his work's amazing.
Has anybody ever noticed that Rembrandt and all the other portraitors, or even contemporary, the portraits they do of other people
Yeah.
look like
Them?
Sometimes, but not always.
I've never said that.
I think that can often be true though, in
just
portraiture.
go and
Yeah.
look at
They bring it
there's
to it.
and it's
Limited.
it's what I said, you'll never get away from yourself.
Well, that's
It
true.
will always be there in a still life,
Huh.
in
Yeah.
a seascape,
Yeah.
in anything.
Oh my God, I can never escape myself.
No,
Close your eyes, and there you are.
not only you.
Yeah.
It's not only you, it's anybody, nobody can.
I know. Well, maybe I'm trying to make friends with myself. That's part of the process is, you know.
Well, I like the idea of what you said a number of times is learning about yourself,
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And maybe that's something that attracts me to contemporary art is like you can create a question that you wrestle with or are interested in your own life, and you know, the practice or the making helps you figure that out. You know, it's like an inquiry based practice.
And accept that, and starting with the question and accepting, I don't know the answer.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Right.
keep at it.
But that's what,
Yeah.
I mean, I love adventures and I love voyage. And you know, what is that? It's because you don't know what you're
Yeah.
gonna see. Like, if you knew what
And,
you were
and
gonna
it's
see.
so much more freeing, because
Yeah.
then you don't have to put the automatic
Yes.
answer, you know, we think we have to give the answer, we have to know the right answer.
Right.
And, you know, we start a painting, we think it has to look like this.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. And it
Right.
so maybe that's
Yeah.
what, maybe creating a container, some kind of like rule, it gets you started without knowing what the finished product is, and at least, you know, it's a really open, and you also don't care what it's going to look like, because you're just doing it to learn something.
How brave.
You
I
know?
think
Yeah.
what you did
Well,
was extraordinary. I can't imagine.
dancing and the lobster boats
What is it?
going by like,
they're like the sirens on the side of on the rocks,
So
right?
brave.
Fishermen going by.
I'd be like, oh, wait, I need to
well, that's why you need to be given a grant.
Oh,
Then you have to do it.
Give
Don't give yourself permission.
Well, then you owe.
Yeah,
You
You
owe
really
it
use
not,
the
you owe
word
it not
well.
to yourself,
Yeah.
but to
yeah,
Really,
those who gave you
Yeah.
it's
the
been
grant.
great.
yeah. It's
That's
been
amazing.
a great. It's been a great.
You opened my brain.
Yeah.
Good.
Good job.
Really nice, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you. Thank you for, you know, being, this community is such a great community, yeah. So I feel privileged to be part of it.
And that's one reason you were granted it, because you do so much for the community that we wanted to give back.
That
See,
was
that
so-
generosity
see?
came full circle.
I know it did.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
It did.
Yeah.
So I received it.
Yeah, you did. You worked hard. Good job, Reese.
Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank